Hey everybody. Well, today's the day when I'm going to get the carpet back in the IROC. It's probably going to be a big job, but just about ready to get going. I think the carpet's ready and the car is ready. I've got the floor pan prepped and everything vacuumed out and just ready to go. Well, I'm ready to start the main part of the carpeting. I have it brought out here and folded back up to get it into the car. So the advice is to start at the middle of the car, which is basically the back of the carpet here, and try to line it up here with the body contours. One thing I noticed on this carpet was that the original carpet had jute backing even in the depression wells underneath the back seats. So I peeled that out of the other carpeting and dropped those in because I didn't see that on this one. So let's see where we're at here. Everything really well folded up. This is the old carpet for the cargo area, and a couple things I want to do. One is I want to drop the new one in just so I know where the edges are for trimming the carpet in the front portion. But the second thing is, as long as when I'm doing that, there's a hard piece of it's hardboard of some sort in here that's in the old one, that's in between two layers of jute. And so what I'm going to try to do, I already cut the edges. I'm going to try to peel that out of there and my goal is to peel it out of here and reuse it in the new one. And I think what I want to do is, given that you have It's basically a layer of board between two layers of jute. I'm going to try to take the lower bottom layer of jute with me and just see if I can't peel this out of here. I don't know how it's going to work. This is just kind of an experiment, but it's probably glued in there really well. Yeah. I'm tearing it right now. That's not good. I didn't want to do that. I got it complete here, but it's starting to peel. Well, go to the other end and see if I can work back the other way. Yeah, there it goes. Well, some of it did peel, but not too bad. I lost a little bit here at the one end and a little bit here. It apparently only had 2 layers of jute at the edges, and then once you got beyond that, it was solid. But given that this is a T-top car with latches to hold down the T-tops, this has holes in it where the tie-downs bolt. So I'm going to try this. I think I'm going to put it down with the jute backing on it and then lay the other carpet on top of it, see how that goes. I can always add adhesive or peel some of this off and take another shot at it. But for first attempt, I'm going to take that. So let me take this board, or whatever, cardboard board, and let's lay that across there, like so. Because you can see where these locators protrude, and that'll give it a little bit more padding, and over here it'll give it a little bit more structure for the load floor where there's a gap. Alright, now I'm going to get the cargo carpet and drop it in temporarily, at least, just to get measurement on the front. Alright, so here's the carpet. So drop that across, drop it over, and then I wish the front part went in that easily. Okay. I think that's pretty well positioned already. Corner, right there. Looks like that's good. And oh yeah, and it comes down a long ways, because it comes down all the way below. Well, the challenge I have back here is that the new carpeting has a lot of excess material available. The challenge to figure out exactly where you want to cut. Alright, so for now, I'm going to pull this back, So that I've got working room up front. But I know now where that's where the bend is, right here. I'm starting to get things positioned here. But I need to start getting more toward the front. Make sure that the shifter is lined up. The real challenge is just that there's so much carpet needing to get it into place. So here's the opening for the shifter, and so far that seems to be close to being right. But I'd feel better if I could get this down a little bit further. It's kind of like you got to get the tunnel to fit. So far, the hole seems to be lining up pretty well. This one's a little bit close together, but I think it would widen out when it gets down in. I've got the back lined up with the seat supports for the back seat. I'm about ready to try to cut that, but using the philosophy that you only get one chance to cut, measure twice, cut once, I want to make sure that I'm pretty close before I actually cut that. Once I cut it, then the carpet won't go all the way down in the wells in the back because it's hung up on that. Once I cut those, it should drop in. And frankly, I think it's about right. I've checked the seat reinforcing risers, and they're lined up with the backing where they ought to be. There will be a couple of places I have to cut back here, and like I say, I think fore and aft we're pretty close. One thing that I did, I cut myself a template to help guide things. It's a piece of cardboard that this is taken from the old carpet. So this is the opening for the shifter, and then there's one for the parking brake, and then there's one for the rear mount for the console, and then there's some holes up here at the front. And frankly, on this car, I don't think these holes do anything. I think perhaps this one on the left, I maybe need to make a slot for the shift cable, shift lock cable. But I don't know that this one does anything. If I can get things close and start getting it laid down, then I may be able to use this to help me decide where I need to cut. I'm not going to use it blindly, but if I got it laid down here with the shifter, it would help me make sure I know where things go. I'll get up to that actuator. It's about 11 inches. If I come back here, same thing, about 11 inches. It's about that contour. And I don't know that I want to go that far in the first crack. Alright, well, I gotta at least get a conservative back up here a little bit. Cut that. Cut that. Certain things aren't going to set until I start cutting holes. But I'm very, very close to be able to cut back here and set the rear seat mounts in. Cut around them, I should say. But it's looking pretty good. I'd like to get those bumps down on the driver's carpet, but you know, I've had to fold this thing about an extra dozen times, so let's let things settle. I'm going to come back later and keep going. And there are a few things I'll have to notch. I'll need to peel it back and get some more. I know I need to, you know, cut by the door sills. But now the length is about right. I think I can go from there. Back later. I've let the carpet sit actually overnight, and I'm still not quite happy with how this is moving. This has still got some bellies in it, like it needs to move forward a little more. I still think I have too much carpet in the center. And there's also, I don't know what it's for, but there's also a cutout in my template. There's also a cutout up here in the middle between the heater ducts, like right up in here. I'm not sure what that's intended for. Nothing goes through it, but it may be for a clearance cut. I think where I'm going to go right now is I'm actually going to lift the carpet in the back and try to slide it backwards so that I can kind of lay my template on it and see how far I might need to go. I kind of hate to do that because it's been nicely conformed into the floor pan overnight, but we're going to see how this goes. Which is just, when I measure the old one, I have about 9 inches to the front from here, and now I've got, on this one I've got about 11. So I probably need to knock a couple inches off the front here. I know that I'm being extra cautious about cutting some of these holes, but you don't have a chance to put the material back if you mess up. So I just went and compared to the old carpet, and you know, the reality is that the console comes over the top and wraps over, so I've got 3 or 4 inches to play with on latitude on either side. So I'm going to line up off of there, off the console cut and off of the back here. And I know there's the center. So I'm going to cut through this guy and get it out, get the material out of here. Now I need to get this positioned and back up underneath up in the front. So I've been waiting to cut the carpet around these, I'll call them seat riser brackets for the back, but until I do that, the tunnel won't drop down into place all the way. So I think I need to do, I now have it to the point where it's not quite as far forward. I've still got a couple of bellies here, but it's starting to conform. To get those right, to get these right, I think I need to start in the back with that, and then get the tunnel in, and then get these two holes for the parking brake and the console, and get some of the wiring and so forth out of here, and then I should be able to go back to the front and trim some more. I have my laptop sitting up on top of the car here. All the pictures and video that I took are available here, and I keep going back and checking to make sure that I'm doing the right things in the right ways. Well, I'll tell you, I'm struggling a little bit here because some things just aren't falling in place as much as I'd like. There's too much carpet at the top of the tunnel, and I know I need to cut this, but it's still too much, and I can get rid of some of it here into the bottom. I need to cut the holes for the seat back pivot rods. The challenge is that the carpet's nicely molded, and it's pretty well sitting in the molded depressions. So if I want to take carpet from the tunnel, I could move it toward the outside, but then I'm starting to move the molded sections out further. And I mean, some of it is that it's not all the way down into the wells, and eventually I want to fix that with, we're going to put holes in for the seatbelt bolts, which are going to really restrain it. But I don't understand why I can't get rid of this wrinkle in here. I cut one of the seat risers carefully, and I didn't take any of the material off. I just opened it up so I could get this down further. But I'm hesitating cutting the other one until I know whether I need to move some more carpet, I'll say, over to the other side. I also have the option of perhaps putting a, maybe this one just molded differently, and I could put another little bit of padding from the other carpet underneath here and pad it a little bit more. I know that the carpet's being held up because I don't have the holes cut here yet. So I think my next step is to take my template, figure out where these things go, cut out these two sections that I need to. So I'm going to start with a small hole. Where's my chalk gun? There it is. I'm going to do a chalk mark on these two. Just plain old sidewalk chalk for the kids. And it looks like it wipes and dusts out pretty easy. So again, I'm going to start with a small hole, figure out where it needs to be, and then I can always make it bigger. said, I'm not going to go all the way to the outside. I'm just going to make sure that I'm in about the right spot. But I can feel on this one, I can feel the bracket is right in here. Well, I've been working at this for a while, trying to get that rear transmission tunnel in place in here, and make the cutouts for the seat brackets and for the rear seat supports. I got this tunnel really close, but it still had some wrinkles in it. I think partially from shipping, but it was still a little loose. So I did go ahead and salvage some more padding from the other carpet, and just put a little section in here over the tunnel, just to take a little bit of the fullness out of that carpet, because no matter how much I push down on here, it's still, I had it conformed pretty well, but it was still a little loose. So if that's the way the car built or whatever, and you know, I'm just going to put in a little padding and go with it. Let's see if we can get this console in here now. Goes on easier with the handle up. See here. Ah, yes, the making progress now. It seemed like it was painfully slow for a while. Painfully slow for a while, but starting to come around now. Very good. Okay, gotta go find some bolts.